my name is Amy. I'm with Rockstar Math. I am your master tutor. I've been tutoring and teaching and doing math for over 20 years. And today I'm starting off a series called How Do We Know What's True? And so this is just an introduction to what that series is going to be about. We can dive into lots of questions. If there's a question you want to dig into that you want to know if it's true, something you read in the news, something you learned in school, how do you know if it's actually true? Go ahead and shoot me an email, drop me a comment, and I'm happy to take example questions, and we'll dig into how do we actually do that just using our thinking skills. So we're going to talk about different kinds of truths in this course. We're going to talk about personal truths, which are basically just opinions. I can say onions are good. That's true for me. It might not be true for you or everyone, but that's just called a personal truth and it's an opinion. And then where do we draw the line to, well, everyone has a right to an opinion, right? Well, kind of, sort of, like you wouldn't have an opinion, say the earth is flat. But, we're going to discuss how we go into figuring out what's true and how that ties into decision making. So, for example, if you want to believe the earth is flat, that's fine. But then if you get upset that it's not taught in school, we'll go into how do we decide what to teach in school? How do we decide what's true enough that we can teach our kids in the next generation and pass knowledge along without knowing maybe every absolute truth all the time. So speaking of absolute truths, we'll always be tying in how math is related to all of this, how math relates to all this thinking. So in math, we actually use something called a proof. That's how we prove our theorems. So it's a little different than how science or say a court might figure out something by examining evidence. So we'll dig into what the difference between those are. So we will talk about the questions such as, is math always true? Okay, we're going to talk about, is science always true? Does science get it wrong? Why does that happen? What happened there? I thought we could trust it. And then we'll talk about what it means to be statistically true. So a lot of truths are based off studies. We'll break down a couple of different types. Won't get into too much heavy math on those. It's more of the conceptual idea of like, how do we as a society decide what's true? How sure are we of what we think is true? And what decisions do we make based off of that information? So, as far as absolute truths, you're not going to get much more absolute truth than mathematics, right? 1 + 1 = 2. There's not really a lot of debate about that. There's not a lot of opinions about that. We don't need to go to court. We don't need to examine evidence. So, how do we really know all this math stuff is true? We'll get into that. And how does that get applied to all these other truths, such as science and statistics, and even how courts and societies make decisions as well. So, if there's a question you want to know, something that is debated, and you want to know how I would go about thinking through that, welcome to get a hold of me and drop a question. But all around, our goal for this course and my goal for teaching always is to help you learn to think. Okay, so we're not going to have to go anywhere or examine evidence ourselves. We're just going to reason through the information we have and be able to come to conclusions. All right. I hope you will join me. Again, send me your questions and like and subscribe to this channel, and you'll get updates when those videos are coming out.